Welcome to Bedtime Buddies, the chill out podcast of relaxed chat and easy nonsense. Welcome to episode 4 of Bedtime Buddies, joined this week by my very good friend Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
So Mike's, all of the other podcasts that we've done so far have been in person, but Mike's trapped, much like Snake Plissken out of Escape from New York. He's trapped up in Manchester, unable to escape.
Yeah, it's tough up north, but I'm managed to find space for us to talk today. It's been a while.
Yes.
Managed to do it. But yeah, I'm here in it's actually my little conservatory at the back of my house.
So for the people that can't see you on your webcam, I particularly liked it when you switched it on and you had an iron up against the wall.
It's not the tidiest, is it? Like, to be honest, there's a bookshelf behind me that looks like it's been through some form of earthquake or similar. The books are all at a jaunty angle. But it's a good room. It's a good room for talking in. It is. It's quite small and it's
Obviously, you live in a house with multiple children and dogs. Do you have a dog?
No, we did have a dog, but he's no longer with us. We had to let him go. It was hard work. We loved him, but he's now loved by others who are probably better able to look after him and meet his needs.
Will you be honest with me, Mike? Did you kill that dog?
I didn't kill him. We drove to the woods and set him free. No, we didn't. He was a brilliant little dash hound. He still is, but he had also yeah, he's okay. I think it was when we last saw him. No, he was great. He was a great dog, but he was he struggled with other dogs and other people, and it's if it was children, if it was a Wednesday, cars, milkman, window cleaner, anybody he just struggled with. But we found a really nice family who worked with dogs with challenging behaviour kind of issues. So he's
nice.
in a happier place now.
Not heaven.
No, he's doing really well though.
Did an angel come and take his hand?
I hope so. I miss him though. I do miss him. He's a good dog.
You missed when he tried to kill you?
Yeah, he's just a little bit violent and difficult to. He just struggled, I think, with life generally. But he needed some specialists. We used to take him to, Skipton. I think we used to take him to a dog field, which was a field entirely set aside for him to run around on his own and not trouble or be troubled by other dogs or any other wildlife. I used to love that, but yeah, it was a bit of a trek.
I mean, I think the idea of a dog always feels like it'd be amazing and it'd be wonderful and it'd be really good, but the reality of owning a dog is something totally different.
Yeah, I think so. I came home from work one day to find that we owned a dog. So it comes as a surprise to start off with. But yeah, he was great, but he needed some real specialist attention basically to be happy, I think. So he's
I love it.
We tried. We tried.
When you talk about you did, but when people talk about their relatives or they talk about their dogs and people say he found it challenging, he struggled, he had problems. And it's just politely saying it's a bit of a knobhead.
It was the right dick. No, but never again, Matt. Never again.
There was a friend of mine at work came home the other day and his dog had shat everywhere at home.
Okay.
And I overheard his conversation and he said, my dog shat everywhere, like his face in his hands because he'd been up all night taking care of it. And not at tea time at 3 o'clock in the morning. This has happened. The dog shat everywhere. And the other guy said, "How bad was it?" And he said, "I want you to imagine the beginning of Saving Private Ryan, where they're going up the beach. Only the machine guns weren't loaded with bullets; they were loaded with shit. And the flamethrowers, they weren't loaded with napalm; they were loaded with shit." He goes, "Does that give you some idea?"
Oh,
And I said, "Was it like someone drove a muck spreader up that same beach, an armoured muck spreader, and it got hit by an artillery shell?" It's like, yeah, so that's what happened.
it's
Just shit.
I can relate. It's I'm not gonna have any more dogs living here. The man's best friend and all. But
I mean, they are, but also my other friend who knows a lot about dogs says, if you've got to give a dog a job, because if you don't give a dog a job, a dog will find a job.
yeah,
And my other friend didn't give his dog a job, so it became self-employed and became employed as a furniture destroyer.
they don't like being left alone, do they? They like company
No.
all the time. And
Self-employed dog.
yes,
He's tax exempt. He fucking turned the sofa inside out. If it was any other member of your family, you'd never speak to him again, would you?
No. Members of my family didn't really want to come around much because of him. So he was quite territorial as well. Like, yes,
You're challenging dog.
Yeah, he wasn't well socialized. Probably our fault. But you know, it became the point where it was me or him, and one of us had to go.
Wow.
No,
it
it didn't.
became Thunderdome.
It was a little Mad Max. Yeah.
One man and a dog goes in. Dog didn't come out.
I would have lost that battle, I think, if it came down to that.
You know what Dachshunds were bred for?
No.
Hunting badgers.
I didn't know that.
I think it means badger hound in German. Dachshund is like badger hound.
Okay.
Like,
badgers are quite difficult animals, aren't they, as well? They can be, I think.
Well, they'll have your face off.
Yeah, that's difficult, isn't it?
You know,
I think they keep themselves, wouldn't they, if they were left alone?
Well, they're that little shape, so they could go down the houses where the badgers live in underground. They're sets or whatever, and drag them out.
Okay.
Like, you've got to be pretty fucking ballsy to go into a badger's house and have it out with him.
I mean, Dachshunds are long. They're a long, sausagey dog as well. I thought that was the best shape for small tunnels,
but little legs get in and out, can't they? Like, I don't think I've ever met one. Some dogs are lovely, but I don't think I've ever met a really cute and cuddly Dachshund.
I like Great Dane dogs. Have you
I like a Great Dane.
There was a Great Dane that lived near where I grew up, and it was large enough for small children to ride on its back.
You know, traditionally like that, don't dogs?
Yeah, it didn't. There's no saddle or anything like that. It was. I don't know.
How did your dog eat like a horse? I should point out, obviously, this podcast, Chill Out Podcast, about bedtime and things. Basically, what we've described so far sounds like a living nightmare.
It's unsettling. Yeah, it's not going to relax anybody.
Like a challenging / knobhead of a Dachshund at your house.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think he's happy. He's happy now with his. He lives somewhere where he's happy. So that's the main thing.
When you keep winking at me like that when you're talking, it makes me think really you did kill it.
No.
Wink.
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 No.
So I want a special thanks as well tonight. We've got a second guest that's with us, and that is Craig Bott, who is in fact recording this interview because we're doing it over Discord. because obviously, as much as I'd love you to be here, having a few cheeky beers with me and recording a podcast, you have other responsibilities.
Well, there's
up
the
there with-
there's a bit of a distance, isn't there? There's travel. It's a bit of a
it's not an easy commute
geography problems.
from southeast Kent to Manchester. It's a bit of a way.
It's a trek, but it's worth it. It's always worth the journey when we do make it.
Well, I keep saying to my mum and dad, obviously every time I come to see them, because they live up that way, I always come to Manchester because there's you and there's Marv and there's the other folks that live up there, and I love it in Manchester.
It's you know what? It's all right. It's I'm a little bit further north. I'm closer to Preston way, but it's a good part of the world.
It's kind of weird in that obviously I've known you since university, and you're one of the few people that I still stay in contact with from university. But when we were at uni, that's where we were. We're in that part of the world, so our adventures, our nighttime adventures, and that were all Southport, Preston, Ormskirk, Liverpool, that sort of region.
I occasionally go back to
never go back.
Never go back, but I do occasionally go back, and
like an errant Dachshund, never go back.
Not my own. I've got friends up there that I've met since through work, but it's strange going back to the town where you 20 years ago. As a younger man, so. But,
I mean, like we were both 18. You mean Ormskirk when we?
Yeah.
What's it like? Has it changed?
It seems to have not changed a great deal. The university is bigger, much bigger. It's grown a lot, but the town itself, it's a historic town, isn't it? It's pretty much as it was in terms of like pubs, and I think there's more to it than that, isn't there? But
well, not a lot.
Places that we went to at that age,
I mean, that's a long time ago, Mike. It's 45 now.
Yeah.
And we came out of there when I was 20. It's like half a lifetime ago. It's a crazy thought.
It's really strange. It's a bit like in I don't know if you remember Flight of the Navigator, where the boy kind of goes away and he comes back, and like years and years have passed for his family. Is it his family? But for him, it hasn't. And in fact, it's not really like that, but it feels like a long time is what I'm trying to.
So what you're saying is you feel like an alien took you in your spaceship and you went faster than the speed of light, and everyone else has got really old.
Yeah, and we collected those creatures in that film, wasn't there? Like little Muppet puppet things, because it came out at the same time as like Labyrinth and that kind of film.
Yeah.
Everything had to have like a Jim Henson kind of little creatures in, didn't it?
When you watch them, even now when I watch them, or you watch Star Wars, or you watch Muppets, or you watch things like that, as a kid, or like Labyrinth or the Dark Crystal and all that sort of nonsense. There's a little bit of me as a kid couldn't believe that they were alive. No matter how good the CGI is, it's not as convincing or as good as good animatronics. I know it's cheaper and that's why they use it, but I watched The Flash the other day, and it's the most CG heavy film I think I've ever seen, and there's so much of it. Like, it's not a bad film.
No,
it's not good or great, but it's not terrible. But at no point are you immersed in the things that are happening because you're watching a cartoon.
I think this is the difference between Aliens and, let's say, Alien 3, where Aliens there was CGI kind of equivalent. I guess that it wasn't so much as it was later in the series, but a lot of it was animatronics, and I think it's just more tactile. I think the lighting works better. I think everything works better. Whereas you get to kind of Alien 3, and there was kind of that early CGI kind of stuff that just didn't look so great.
It's not aged well, has it? And you think about Aliens, which is probably my favourite film out of all of them in that franchise, and you see them building the models, and like when the dropship does the flight over the Hadley's Hope over the colony, it's actually just a camera panning over this scale model,
Yeah.
and it's why it looks so good. And they put smoke out to give it like a haze, and and you're like, so interestingly enough, I've seen the new Dune film.
I haven't seen it yet. I've seen part 1, but not seen part 2.
In the original Dune, when the worms came out of the sand, they were like these little animatronic puppets, but they couldn't use sand because sand was because they were small. The sand wouldn't look like sand. The grains would be too big. So
Okay.
instead of sand, they use this incredibly fine glass dust, which is incredibly harmful. So they're all in these big respirators, or all the filming crew, and you're like, people had to think their way around this because they didn't have computers to do it from.
Yeah.
And I don't know, have we lost a lot of that, like creativity? Is it just stick some CGI in?
I think so. I know. I quite enjoy stop motion films, and kind of animation. I love that style, and it's few and far between, you know.
Yeah.
And I think there is something lost with that. I think I was watching RoboDoc, which is it's like I'm not sure how many parts it was, five or six episodes. It's relatively new. I think it's on kind of Prime. But the making of RoboCop, basically, and it's got the kind of whole section with Ed 209.
Yeah.
And how that was created, and the kind of animation around it. And it, you look at it now, and you can, it's obviously, I don't know, not quite the same effect as I guess when it was made. But I just think there is something quite special about some of the kind of more traditional techniques,
Well, I mean, it's painstakingly awful doing stop motion because it takes hours and hours and hours to get like 10 seconds of footage. Wait. So, oh God. And, like Wallace and Gromit's all, like, I watched Chicken Run, Dawn and the Nugget the other day, and that's all stop motion. It's beautiful. It looks really good.
Occasionally there must be a mistake, like someone must knock the table and all the characters like just move slightly out of sync. Like, oh God, I'm gonna put them all.
Hours of work. Hours of fucking work ruined, you prick.
Carnage again, a whole day. Got to start the day again. Oh, God.
Start again.
Why don't we use computers? Why don't we do that? Why don't we move on? No.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Computers will never take over. But they were saying in the most recent Marvel films, CGI looks terrible. They can't make their mind up to the last minute what they want to do.
Yeah.
And then they drop it on the CGI artists at the last minute saying,
okay,
we want you to do this, this, and this. And they're like, what, in a week? Are you crazy? And they're like, yeah, get it done. So it looks like shit. It looks like I've done it with a crayon. Like,
it's and it'd be quite dramatic things they'd be asking for in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, they're not just asking for a dude walking down the street, are they?
No, definitely not. There's I watched. Have you seen Black Rain with Michael Douglas?
Yes.
From the 80s, and
love Michael Douglas.
There's a motorcycle race in it, so he's like a motorcyclist. You get like one of the first scenes of the film, he beats like a competing kind of biker for money at the start of the film. Then at the end of the film, there's this kind of like kind of convened kind of ending whereby the bad guy is running away, and he gets this kind of this motorbike, gets on this motorbike, drives off. It just so happens to be another motorbike sat next to this one that Michael Douglas jumps on. He's like, I'll follow you on this. But then it cuts to the chase scene between them, and I think in the original like VHS it would have looked brilliant, but because like now it's all in HD, you can clearly see this is not Michael Douglas on the bike. It's not even a man that looks like Michael Douglas. It's like, who's this guy chasing him? It's like he's got a beard, he's got like his jeans on. Like that doesn't look anything like Michael Douglas.
But you know, the interestingly enough, the first time ever, like, I think HD film technology caught up with them when they were making Face Off, and like there's whole bits of the film where like Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, like John Travolta's not doing a lot of stunts, he's a big lad, and his boat crashes and they get launched in the air, and again it's just not John Travolta, his hairline's different, he's young and muscular and not a big lad, and it's just not them. And
No.
Like, I love Nicolas Cage. In fact, I watched him in. Have you seen Renfield?
No, I don't think I have.
It's
Missed out here.
and Nicolas Cage is Dracula in that, and he's incredibly campy, and he hams it up, and it's
Okay.
could have gone one or two ways, but it's really good.
Hmm.
You need to check it out. It's incredibly gory, much like that dog. He kicks a bad guy so hard at one point, his entire skeleton collapses, and he shits and vomits himself to death. I'm not kidding.
You're really selling it to me.
He cuts to an X-ray, and it just shows every bone in his body breaking, and just shits,
Nice.
much like the D-Day landing. So, moving on. We were talking about the 80s there, much like you and I were children of the 80s. You were working on a little project, weren't you? A little 80s computer game that you made.
Yeah, it's still making it.
I thought it had been released.
Not quite yet. There's a demo that has been released, and we're almost there. I'm almost done. But it's been a bit of a journey. It's taken longer than I anticipated, but this is the first game that I've published, so it has been a learning curve. But yeah, so it's called Fallen City Brawl, and it is a beat 'em up game inspired by Double Dragon and Final Fight, Streets of Rage. It's kind of an arcade style beat 'em up, kind of pixel art, retro look to it.
Is it like 16-bit type thing?
Yeah, it's kind of got 16-bit. If you imagine like 16-bit plus a little bit more, a bit like the kind of early, I don't know if you ever played the Sega Saturn, or kind of that,
At your
kind
house?
of look. Yeah, it will have been. But yeah, it's 2D, but the kind of screen kind of scales in a little bit. There's some nice. I like to think I tried to make some nice effects on there, and I've wanted to make a game for a long time, and I did a Kickstarter for the game going back a couple of years, 3 or 4 years now, and it wasn't successful. It kind of got halfway to where I needed to get with it, but I was really.
What were you
lucky.
looking to raise? How much cash were you looking for?
It was something like 15,000 something.
Million.
Yeah.
15 million pounds.
15 million pounds. But yeah, it didn't get there. And it's a Kickstarter as like an all or nothing kind of thing. So if you don't get to that total, then you don't get anything. But yeah. I was really fortunate. A publisher called East Asia Soft kind of reached out and said, well, we like the look of this, and if you do want to continue to develop it, then we'd be interested in working with you on it. So I've got a relationship there with them, and they've been fantastic. They've supported me throughout really, as throughout the game's development. Yeah, we're nearly there. So there's a demo on Steam at the moment, so the intention is it'll kind of launch on Steam and then consoles a little bit later.
Okay.
So there's a demo on Steam at the moment. And
what does the demo cost?
The demo's free. It's a free demo. I'm updating the demo over the next few days. So there's a new, some new kind of animation, some new music, some new moves, some new supers and special moves as well. So
you're a super special guy.
Thank you. That's kind of you. You said it with almost a slight sarcastic tint.
Well, I think on our way, a lint in your voice, a lilt. Lilting brogue. Is that thing?
A lilt. Okay, a lilt. What's a lint in your voice?
Is
that lint off you, like off your jump?
Freddie Lintoff.
Is it like off like fluff? Lint's like fluff, isn't it? Like in the tumble
out of your belly button.
Yeah, that's what you've got. Your voice. You haven't.
You talk like a belly button full of fluff.
But So making the game has been good. It's been a lot of fun. It's been harder than I ever thought it might be to make a computer game. I guess I went into it knowing that I had a lot to learn, but I really did. So, but
the thing is, though, like the first time you ever do something like this, you learn a lot, don't you? And then you do it again, and then, like for me, I've got loads of short stories that I've never written down, so
Mhm.
I'm handwriting them. I bought a beautiful like a blackout journal, and I'm handwriting them out, and I'm also doing little drawings. And
Okay.
the thing that I've discovered is that if you use certain so the first attempt I spent a lot of time writing it out, and then when you go on to the next page and write it, the pen ink transfers between the original 2 pages, so it fucks everything you've done previously. So I went through, yeah, I laughed as well. I went through one of these journals and I had to get another one, and I had to then look into which pens to use. And it's such a fucking ball ache when you've taken the time to make something, and then through no fault of your own, it goes fucked, and then you have to start again. It's upsetting.
So it was a blackout journal, did you say?
Yes, all the pages are black paper.
Okay, all right.
And I'm writing it on it with like white pen that really pops off the page, because I wanted it to be. So I learned from my friend who's an artist. She said, "Don't draw on white paper, draw on grey paper, because with grey you can accentuate light and dark, and it contrasts against the grey.
Okay.
But if you want something to pop on black paper, everything has to be very bright, light, high pixel pens. But the pen that I'd use set like chalk, so as soon as you wrote on the other side of the page, the chalk transferred between the previous 2 pages. I just fucked it."
What's the is there a theme with the short stories? Is there a range of...
When I finish the journal, it's going to be a mixture of a story and a role-playing game. So like so it'll be a lot of eventually you'll get a little bit of a story, a bunch of rules, and the next chapter you'll get another story set in the same universe, a bunch of rules and things like that. And the thing that I learned, I went to a board game festival last year, and there was a guy there kickstarting a game, like a golf game, and the thing he did was you rolled these dice, you made a golf course from the results of those dice, and then you had to play round it. So you made a course, you passed it to the person to your left, and then each of you had to play. It was a very simple, fun, silly, I think it's like a beer and pretzels pickup game. It's an easy thing to do. But he was kickstarting it for €3.
Okay.
And so when you kickstart for €3, he got like 10,000 people, and everybody that kickstarted it got a PDF of the rules and the 3D printer files for printing the dice.
Wow.
So he hasn't got to make 30,000 things. He makes one, just emails it to everybody, and I'm like your game, you make it once, and that's the way forward. So this book of mine, when it's finished, I'll turn it into some sort of PDF, and everybody that buys it for £3, £4 gets a PDF.
That sounds really nice. Would you want to do something like something more tactile as well, like for people that might want to, I don't know, that might be interested in kind of spending.
See how it goes. I'd have to
let's start
research that. See how it goes. Like make a deluxe version, because I do quite a few things on Kickstarter, and some of them have been really good. But out of all of them, I've done like nearly 20 Kickstarter projects, and I think 1 or 2 have been shit, and the rest have been good. I've had one that's gone on for years, and they just keep moving the goalposts and when we're going to get it, and it seems unfair, really, because they've had my money. They've had $100 for 3 years. So, so that's that. Well, Mike, I wish you all the best with your computer game, by the way.
Thank you. No, it's I appreciate that. It's going to be an exciting few months. It's almost ready to. It's in the kind of last stages of development, and the big challenges are kind of behind me now, I think, in terms of its development. So it's exciting times. Thank you.
As soon as it comes out, I'm buying a copy. That's all there is to it. In fact, I'm going to play the demo tonight before I go to bed.
Thank you. But wait for a couple of days, because there's a new version coming. Or play it tonight, and then put some time aside so you can play the new version. So, look how it's improved.
What do you get in the demo then? You get like first 2 levels or something?
Well, at the moment you get the first 2 levels, but the update, I'm going to change it a little bit. It's going to be an enhanced kind of first level with a tutorial as well. Because one of the challenges with it is I've tried to do a few things with the kind of control scheme to make it quite in depth, the kind of combat mechanics. I want a way for people to kind of get used to that, and to be kind of prompted in terms of this is what you can do with the kind of move set. And it's a little bit difficult to do that with just the kind of stages themselves. So it's good to kind of there's a tutorial section that'll kind of walk people through some of the more I don't know, some of the kind of mechanics in there. So yeah, it should be good.
Well, that's good to hear. So
thank you.
Moving on.
Good luck with the and just good luck with the stories. You have to send me a clip. Send me a.
I will do. I'll send you some of them. I could email because some of them are just on Word documents.
Okay.
But taking the time, there's something cathartic as well about sitting down and writing things out by hand. I don't know. It's a bit old-fashioned, I know, but it just makes me feel a lot better about myself when I did it. Obviously, you talked about Fallen City Brawl, your game, but you yourself are a bit of a brawler. You're a bit of a boxer.
It's like a bit of an exaggeration, but I have been. I have had 2 boxing matches. A glorious career.
How many wins?
I had 1 win out of 2, but
that's good.
It was the second of the boxing matches that I won, so you could see it as I improved from the loss of the first fight.
How close was the first one?
Well, I like to think it was close, but when I look back at the video, at one point,
what did the referee say?
The people in the commentary, there was a commentary people, and they said, if Mike doesn't get his hands up, he's going to be knocked out any moment. I wasn't, but there was a point where I did get punched squarely in the face by with an uppercut.
Wow.
And all I remember hearing was the people that were watching. It was in like a nightclub. It was a proper boxing fight, but in a nightclub. And there's this kind of the noise of the people watching, like, ooh, oh god, oh, it's like, yeah, it did hurt a little. But yeah, I lost that one, but then I won the second one, so I was quite pleased with that.
Over the last few months, I've been doing some weightlifting myself and getting into shape. And one of the things I've discovered is how when you get to lifting, deadlifting, squatting, like barbell squats and things, heavier weights, a couple of times I nearly got knocked out. You feel like you're going to pass out from the effort.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have thought it, but like, it's not competition winning, but I was deadlifting 170 kilos the other week, and I squatted with 160. I went a bit off balance on the 160, nearly tipped over. But after that, I was proper woozy. Like when I got up.
Is this like the blood rushing away from your head? Like
to your cock, goes to your cock.
Is that what is balancing you?
That's what tipped me over. Yeah.
That is not again. So right. You see, I wasn't imagining that was the reason. But and yeah,
I love it. I love it that much.
Yeah.
The look on your face when I said that, it's like, I don't really know what to say, man. You said this podcast wasn't going to be obscene.
Told me not to be obscene. And like you, was it like a lever, like a fulcrum?
Can you imagine like I want you to imagine like a windmill, and one of the blades has come off the windmill and it's unbalanced.
Right.
It tears itself apart.
I see.
That's what it was like.
So everyone saw that.
Everybody saw. My mum.
Okay.
It was put on Facebook. She didn't need to see that. But thinking of off balance, it reminds me of a time when obviously kind of transgressing now into bedtime stories, I guess. But
yeah.
There was a time when you and I were coming home from the university bar and I tackled you to the floor and rubbed crab apple in your face. I
remember that vividly.
You didn't enjoy it, did you?
No, because it wasn't just that you because people might think it was a mashed up crab apple that you rubbed in my face, but it was an actual apple that you pushed into my face to mash it up, and that, like, I don't know how you managed to do that. You rubbed like a full apple, and it compressed onto my face, like into my face, and
into your beard.
Yeah, into my eyes. It was
up the arse.
Yeah, it was like it was like weaponized, wasn't it? Like a weaponized
apple.
Why was
crab apple?
Yeah, and it was a large crab apple as well. Crab apples are usually smaller apples, aren't they?
But they're everywhere. Was that
well, that
Mm.
isn't a reason to rub one into somebody's face. Why did you do
I
this?
just thought Michael find this funny. I'll just rub a crab / Granny Smiths into his face.
I remember thinking that, like, to an outside observer, it might be amusing, and yet, to me, experiencing it first time,
You said it hurt quite a bit.
It stung because they're quite sharp, aren't they? Like, not physically sharp, but to taste a crab apple, it's
Acidic.
sharp.
Acidic.
Yeah, like they are, and like, so if you imagine that over your face,
it's never happened to me, so you know.
No.
You never did it to me, so
I was too shocked at what happened that day
to
kind of do anything about it, either then or since.
Well, I don't know. I just thought that was funny, and
it was funny. I remember the time also where there was a long road, wasn't there? It was a long road on the way back.
It was
from the town, and I think there was a time where we took a shortcut. I think through. I suppose there were gardens, weren't they? People's
private
gardens.
property.
Yes, and we were jumping over the fences and the hedges,
Yeah.
and I remember getting.
I don't know if I could do it now, but
no, we
younger and fitter, and springier.
Couldn't do it very well then, though. I don't think. You remember getting a cut and then on my leg and ending up in.
Oh yeah,
the hospital.
You went over some barbed wire, didn't you?
Yeah, and
how did I get over it? How did I get over it? And you didn't get over it.
You just jumped better. You were like springy, like say springy, like what is it? An Impaler? One of those Impala, like
Impala.
Impala.
What, like car?
No,
a Ford Impala.
What's that little like an iBox kind of thing?
I know what you mean.
Like a little deer.
Gazelle. Little gazelle.
Yeah, I think there is one called. Isn't there an Impala? I don't know.
I've never been described as that.
Well, either way, you were like
a hungry hippo, maybe.
You were like a gazelle on that night, and we ended up in the hospital because there was quite a lot of blood, wasn't there, involved? And,
yeah.
And that, I bet they were really annoyed, like drunken.
Oh, we were really drunk.
Really drunk.
It's lucky. I mean, we lived very near to the hospital. Luckily, as it would have turned out.
Well, I just remember hearing your voice through the halls of the hospital. I think you were lost. You were like wandering. You were wandering the halls of the hospital. Mike, where are you? Where are you? And I think we had to find each other by just the power of our voices alone.
The nurse came in and went, "I'm gonna have to see your knee. You're gonna have to pull your trousers down." And you pulled your trousers, boxer shorts, and everything down. So just cock and balls out.
Yeah, but it was an accident. I didn't mean to do that. It wasn't like a deliberate.
You're a sex offender.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's not the way it was intended.
But she said, because she's working nights and she's dealing with these two 18-year-old lads that are pissed, and you're there with you've gone snake out, and she said, "I can see your penis," and you looked down, and then you just burst out laughing, but didn't pull your trousers up.
I don't remember that.
I do.
I feel like you're embellishing.
I'm not. Fucking happened.
Yeah. I don't know, but
I do. It happened.
It'll have been written up in a report, won't it, at the end of the show? Like, what
with the police.
Tonight? These idiots came in, and this is what happened. The truth is out there, isn't it?
The truth is out there. But they were good times, man.
Yeah, they were. We had a good time.
It was a simpler time. Pints were £1.55, Mike.
Really?
or £1.60 or something for a pint of.
Mm.
I mean, the lager was shit. It was Coors or Foster's, but
Yeah, but at that price,
you can't argue with that. It's like I bought a
Mm.
pint the other day, and it's like £6-7 a pint in some places now.
It's crazy, isn't it?
What's it cost up there in Manchester for a pint?
In Manchester itself,
Mm.
it's not too far behind that in the city centre, but kind of Preston, where I am, it's a bit further up north, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a couple of quid less than that. It's not what you're paying.
No. I went to Wetherspoons the other week, over in Maidstone, and you can get a pint of Ruddle's Best for less than £2.
Okay.
And I mean, Ruddle's Best, a bit of a contradiction in terms, but £2, less than £2, mate. You could have 5 pints for a tenner.
That's cheap, isn't it? That's really cheap. I can't drink that much anymore. Like I couldn't. Like if I drank 5 pints, that'd be a lot.
I don't know how I did it. I don't know if I could do it now. But when I went to Munich in October last year, I drank 7 steins, so 14 pints.
Wow.
7 steins, Mike.
Did you do that thing that you do when you drunk far too much alcohol? I don't know, like when you kind of you kind of just become more of you. You're like you, but more of you. And like I don't know, like you kind of more physical and and emotional, more physical and emotional.
Oh man, when I went to Belgium a few years ago, we talk about nightmares. We were drinking absinthe, which is the devil's work. It's the devil's wee-wee. It's so I had 2 absinthes and started to cry in the pub.
Oh. Oh dear.
There's no sexy or appealing about a 16-stone man crying.
No, on your own.
With your imaginary friends. A green fairy on your shoulder that you've imagined. Oh man, happy days. We did a bit of taekwondo together as well, didn't we, at uni?
Yeah, we did.
You carried on for a bit. Our friend Phil carried on for a long time. He's still doing it now.
For life. It's still going.
It is.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It takes a lot of dedication. I carried it on for maybe a year or so. Maybe not even that.
I've done a few martial arts. I've done taekwondo, judo, and karate, and I generally get to my first belt and sack it off after that. I've learned everything I'm going to learn.
You've mastered the craft at that point. Time to move on. Time for the next mountain. Fly.
How the fuck is Batman the master of every martial art? It takes 10 years.
Yeah, and I don't know if he is, because
he says he is.
Well, and he's the world's greatest detective, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, that's not an easy job either.
No, and they don't go well together, those pursuits. Do they? You can't like one's very much scientific kind of endeavor, isn't it? Like takes a lot of time and research and learning your craft at the desk probably.
Yeah.
Whereas martial arts is very different to that. So how would you?
When you read the sort of bibliography of Batman and what he's done and where he's gone, it's bonkers. So he learned every single martial art, then he became a detective. Do you know what he did after that? He went to Africa and learned to throw spears. And then he went to Australia and learned about how to use a boomerang.
Was that in the Dark Knight Rises, or that wasn't? And that was it. No.
I think Christopher Nolan were like, "No, this is bollocks. He's not doing that."
Yeah.
He went and found Harry Houdini and became a fucking brilliant escapologist as well. He's done it all.
Yeah.
He can't fix his taps though. He has to get a plumber in for that.
Is that right?
No, I just made that up.
Okay. Yeah, well, he's crammed a lot into his life, hasn't he? I guess.
He's lived a full life.
Yeah. And yeah. I think, and fighting crime kind of via being a detective and via beating up bad guys with a lot of gadgets as well. So
And
it's a life, isn't it? Well lived.
in his comic books as well, he's a genius that invents all his gadgets.
Hmm.
So he's a scientist as well and an engineer, and he's got like 100 jobs.
It's like when they're creating him, so many ideas for that character, and they had to put them all in. And I love all of these ideas. I'm not getting rid of any of them.
We're keeping it all. I like that he's so great, but my own experience is that you meet so many people in the real world that aren't even good at their one job. You know, they're shit. Everyone's shit at their job.
Have you heard of the von Meinstein Matrix? I think that's the name.
Okay, you're making that up.
No, it was apparently a German general who created this matrix, and he divided his officers into different groups, okay, based on how intelligent or unintelligent they were, and how hardworking or lazy they were. And he said, look, if you're intelligent and hardworking, then you'd be a fantastic kind of staff officer. If you are not intelligent and lazy, that's okay. Leave those people alone. They won't do any harm. And he said, if you are not very intelligent but very hardworking, fire those people immediately because they just cause bother for everybody else. Fire them. And he said the highest office should be retained for the people that are lazy and intelligent, because they'll find ways of getting the job done that are simple and easy. It's this idea of lazy intelligence that but you're right. I think one of the challenges is that when people are very hardworking, but I don't know, maybe a bit stupid and
thick, and they're just a bit thick.
Just cause work for everybody, you know.
So I guess you've got this one soldier that's thick as fuck, but just whatever he does every day, he just picks up a shovel or whatever, and he just goes out and starts digging holes because he's very hardworking. And they're like, "You've just dug up the whole minefield like we just laid. You thick prick."
I was listening to something about wildlife in kind of war zones, and there was these. I think there was like some kind of species of wolf that is basically living in a minefield because there's no humans there, so they know that it's going to be quiet and nobody's going to disturb them. And obviously, they've got the mines to worry about, but there's kind of theories that they can detect where the mines are. They can smell like maybe the TNT in the mines or the equivalent, whatever it is. But they live in that environment, kind of perilously, but it's away from human kind of interference. You know?
Because no one's going to follow them there, right? So.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say something and I've completely forgotten it.
Was it a lie? Was it a lie? Is that right?
Yeah. There's a guy that used to come and see my dad who was thick, and he came in and he told my dad that he's like, "I've just got a new pressure washer." And he's like, "Right, that's nice. Can you guess what the pressure is?" And he said, my dad's like, "No, go on, surprise me." And he said it's like 30,000 bar or something like that. And my dad said they cut steel with water jets that are 1,000 bar. Like, it's not 30,000 bar. He goes, "It is. It's 30,000 bar. It's a jet washer." And my dad said, "What are you jet washing? The moon? Why do you need 30,000 bar?" Just people are thick, man. I don't know why I thought of that.
But it's right. Do you own a jet washer? Have you got one yourself?
I don't have one. Do you have one?
I don't have one of 30,000, but I do have one.
P.S. Nobody does.
Well, no, and whatever bar mine is, it must be around like 12 something, like, because it's like turning the tap on really hard. It's like with the like water really gushing out, but they're great. Like it was something I thought, you know.
Do you jet wash flagstones?
Yeah, I've got these flagstones at the back of my house, and there's like big trees out the back, and they get all kind of covered in tree
Rhyme, gunge.
mulch or whatever. Yeah, and they come up like amazing with that. I it's it's irrelevant to everything we've discussed today, really.
Mhm.
But
No, I love it. It's things you think about before bed. This is
yeah. That's pretty. It's not the only thing I think about before bed, but it's one of them.
I was listening to Matt Berry. I'm a big fan of Matt Berry, and he said he did this speech, and he said, in the last year, I've attempted to have sex with my wife 365 times. I have been successful on exactly 98 of those times. Here are the top excuses listed in order of frequency. I'm too hot. I'm too cold. I don't feel very well. I feel disgusting. You look disgusting. It's just a big long list. I've got a headache. I've just washed my hair. I'm going to wash my hair. But yeah. Because obviously you're a happily married man. I was there at your wedding. And this was it. I thought about the other day. When I was thinking about what we talk about, was how your daughter, your baby daughter, shat herself in the middle of the wedding ceremony, just as you were like, I do. She just shat her pants. And the woman, not the celebrant came over. Not the celebrant, the clerk came over, and she said, "Oh, someone had an accident in their nappy." And I said, "Yeah, sorry about that." Now,
I don't know if she found that funny, mate.
I don't think she found it funny. In my head, I imagined that joke laughing a lot differently to how it landed. And yeah, she didn't. I thought that was like gold, like gold.
It was. Well, I was distracted, obviously, because I was getting married at the time. But I just remember, like, hearing the kind of hushed silence after you spoke, after you said that, and it was like, people, you think, no, it's not gone down well, and oh god,
yeah, she
didn't seem the type to find that. I don't know.
She didn't find like poo jokes very funny.
No,
it wasn't her cup of tea.
No, but it was a good day. It was good. You came and it was a great day. But you came and you left to get on a plane like James, like James Bond or something. Like you came in and you're like, "Hi guys, I've got to go now. It's midnight. My plane leaves in an hour."
Oh, it's like 1 a.m. Like your wedding went on a lot longer than normal weddings. Like most weddings end at 11:30, 12, but like at 1 a.m. it was still going. Your wedding was something else, man. And
thanks.
I was going to Belgium to a beer festival in Belgium, so I had to leave at 1 to go get a train to the airport to get a 5 a.m. flight.
Yeah, I remember. No, you helped make it what it was. It was good. It was great to have you there.
Good. It was lovely to see your mum and dad and that again. I hadn't seen them for 20 years. So
yeah.
Your dad.
Yeah, no, everyone enjoyed meeting you as well. I think you introduced people to various cocktails. I remember.
Oh yeah, I love cocktails. Oh, I'll tell you something. I'm making some blood orange syrup, like a simple syrup. So like your simple syrup is basically equal parts water and sugar. And anytime you have a sour cocktail or various cocktails, you would always have some simple syrup in that. So I'd read this recipe where you can just put, instead of water, you use the juice from blood oranges, and then you put equal parts blood orange, fresh. You squeeze the orange out, and then you put it through a sieve and sieve out any pulp or anything like that, and then you cook and you heat it up slightly, put the sugar in equal parts, and you make this blood orange syrup. And then I'm going to make a blood orange sour, which is double gin, a double shot of gin, a shot of the simple syrup, the blood orange syrup, and a shot of lemon juice, and you shake it up, and then you get rid of the ice and you shake it up with egg white to froth up, and you make a sour, and that's going to be the next cocktail. I've never had one before. I'm going to make it tomorrow.
Okay.
For Easter Sunday.
So what would you so that would be so that itself will be non-alcoholic, but then you have you put alcohol in there? Have you?
Yeah. So you take literally a double shot, 2 shots of gin, a shot of the syrup, and a shot of lemon juice.
Did you literally say
yes,
that
I did. And you went.
I was like, yeah, okay, I'm with you.
You're right. Like, so it's non-alcoholic then, and you're like, other than the gin, yes.
Other than that, other than the alcohol, it's pretty non-alcoholic, actually, Mike. Yeah. Sorry.
He's,
Right.
he's always
Okay.
been a good listener. He's a good listener as well.
I'm with you. I was listening to one of your other episodes, and you were talking about cocktail making. It did get me thinking that it's you're good at it. You're really good at it. It's a good kind of it's a good skill to have. It brings people together, doesn't it? Cocktail making. You use it as a kind of way of
I
bringing
think
people
like
together.
there's I was thinking about this the other day. Dave, who was on episode 3 of the Bedtime Buddies, we were with him the other week, and I've been into their cocktail. I had a very late shift on Thursday, so I went for a drink Thursday, and then I went again last night and had a glass of wine just on my way home. And watching him make the cocktails, I'm like, part of this isn't just the cocktail, part of it's the ritual, watching somebody do something, and watching the process, and watching him make the cocktails is something else. So like when we had our Christmas party, I had everyone round to my house, and I took the table and everything out of the kitchen, and I moved my bar next to the sink, so I had a proper bar with a sink, and made cocktails for everyone, and it's pretty good. I love it. I just love it. But when I worked in a bar, I never wanted to make cocktails. Only now. Don't know why.
Well, I don't know. I think things happen at different times in your life, don't you? You get different interests, different things come together and create ideas, and shape what you want to do with your time, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember. I think you told a story, probably in that episode podcast, where all your cupboards are now filled with various mixers and different types of alcohol.
Well, I'm looking at the floor right now, and there's 2 bottles of absinthe, there's bottles of gin and different things, but they've been there for years. They're 2/3 full. And one of the things I did buy the other day, which I love, an old fashioned, which is just whiskey, sugar, and a little bit of water to melt the sugar, and a little bit of bitters, like Angostura bitters. So it's whiskey, sugar, water, and bitters, and it's one of the first cocktails ever made, and that's why they call it the old fashioned, because it's probably the very first one we ever had.
And is there any alcohol in that one?
No, none at all.
No.
No, just well, actually, yeah, there is some whiskey in that. Yeah,
just a little bit of whiskey. Okay.
I mean, you could use. I mean, is there alcohol in whiskey? I don't think there is.
Yeah.
Give it to children. There can't be.
Yeah.
But the pain in the ass with it is that you have to muddle and stir the sugar until it dissolves, and it takes fucking ever. It takes like 5 minutes for the sugar to go away, and that's a long time when you're making cocktails.
It's kind of it's chemistry. It's a chemistry kind of. This is different amounts, different volumes of different characteristics coming together, creating something new. There's a lot to it, and I know very little. Everything I know about cocktails is A, from you, and B, from that 1980s film Cocktail, which I'm not sure was how accurate the cocktail making in that was. Really.
Do you know the thing that upset me the most about that film was I didn't get to see Elizabeth Shue's boobs.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see them, and I didn't get to see them because she didn't show them.
No.
And that bothered me.
And that's what. Okay, but then you decided still to take on the mantle of cocktail making.
I think maybe I dreamed that one day Elizabeth Shue would come to my house and show me her boobs. That's why I made cocktails. That's a nice thought, isn't it?
Yes. It wasn't a very good film, I don't think that.
No, it's an odd one. But the point I was going to say to you was that I bought at Waitrose, I bought a bottle of Johnny Walker ready-made old-fashioned.
Okay.
You just put it in with ice and you just drink it and it's ready to go.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be any good. I think on the first podcast I bought something else from Waitrose, which was like an already made espresso martini ready to go. And it was okay at a pinch. If you had none of the other ingredients, it'd be fine. But if you could make one, anything's going to be better.
Waitrose, we've got a Waitrose quite close to us, and we've got a Sainsbury's that's a bit further away, quite a bit further away. And the Waitrose is so handy, but and people say, it's really expensive, but it really is. It really is. But you kind of like, it's so handy to go there. But
can I tell you something? Their meat's pretty cheap compared to some of the other supermarkets. And if you go late in the evening before they close, they've usually got a lot of reductions.
Right, okay.
I buy a lot of cheap meat from
Right.
Waitrose.
What are you doing with that cheap meat?
Feeding my dinosaur.
Okay.
I've got a little Dachshund. He is troublesome,
Mm-hmm.
and he eats a lot of meat because he hates
Okay.
the world.
There's a book called, I can't remember the title. The title is The Date That President Kennedy Was Assassinated, which I should know. It's 1963, but it might be on that messy bookshelf behind me. But it's a Stephen King story about the assassination of President Kennedy. But it's a science fiction story. It's about a guy who has the opportunity to go back in time and change the events of that day. But without kind of spoiling any of the plot, this is an early on thing. There's a guy that sells burgers in a kind of diner, and he's basically using this kind of time travel thing to go back to like the 1950s, late 50s, to buy meat to bring to the future to then sell, because it's so cheap to buy in the past and such a great quality, and he sells it in the future, and people are like, how do you manage to sell this burgers for this price? It's such great quality. It's because he bought them in the past. It's a really good book. It's really, really.
That
really...
seems like like, why don't you just get the lottery numbers? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like, that's a lot of effort.
Yeah, it does explain that. I can't remember quite how they.
And then go back and buy Bitcoin when it first starts, when they were half a pence each, and then sell them now at £50,000 each, whatever they are.
Is Bitcoin is that any good? Like, I don't know.
I've never used
Bitcoin.
it. Well, the thing about Bitcoin is, so here's an interesting thing. I saw a thing online today where they said you can't. So if you've got $100,000 and you want to get it out of the country, if you try to wire transfer $100,000 out of the country, they'll go, "What the fuck are you doing with this?" Some bank will put a stop on it. Okay. So if you try to take a $100,000 gold bar through the airport, somebody will stop you. They'll confiscate it. They'll assume you've stolen it. If you take $100,000 in cash, they'll stop you from taking it. But Bitcoin, you could buy $100,000 in Bitcoin, send it to someone else. They won't even know you've sent it. And then they immediately transfer it back to money. And that's how you send large quantities of money untraced.
Is this what you found attractive about Bitcoin generally, or?
Well, for me, so like when Bitcoin first started, a single Bitcoin was worth like 5p or less than a penny, and then at its height, it was something like $50,000 each. So you take all the money that you've got in the bank now, go back in time, buy some Bitcoins at half a penny each, and then go to the point in time where they're $50,000 each, sell it, and then come back to the future with the money.
Point. I don't know enough about Bitcoin. I feel like it's something that I should know a little bit more about. I should learn a little bit more.
So it's decentralized. It doesn't belong to anyone. It doesn't belong to a government. No one owns it. And everybody that has a computer that buys a Bitcoin, you donate a little bit of your server space to store the information about Bitcoins on it.
You have to mine. You're mining it. You're mining Bitcoin.
Well, I probably can't explain that bit, but that's harder to do because there's only so many Bitcoins, and a lot of them have been found.
Okay.
So there's not many of them left. But like, it doesn't belong to a government. It doesn't belong to a country. It doesn't belong to an establishment. It's just on the internet. It's just there. But it's unstable. You don't know what it's going to be worth in a week. It might be worth twice as much. It might be worth half as much. But it's a lot of people use it because it's difficult. You can't trace the transactions. So you could go into the dark web and buy things off the dark web with it, and no one will know.
I could have bought the microphone that I'm using tonight. I mentioned
with
earlier.
Bitcoins.
I could have used Bitcoins for that. It was only £20. Hopefully the quality is half decent.
It's okay. It's not bad.
Well, that's good. But earlier I struggled to find my usual microphone.
Yes.
It's somewhere in the house or in the garage or somewhere safe.
Or
I put it to keep it safe.
is it lost in time and space?
It might be in the bin. Something might have been it. But it's not here. So I went to I bought one Argos, online at Argos, and I went to Argos, and the guy was really helpful. And he was like, "Have you got the number, the FTT number or whatever?" And I read it out, and he's like, "That doesn't sound right." I'm like, "It's here." Just he said, "You see, what's happened here is you're in the wrong Argos." I'm like, "Oh, there's Preston is blessed with two Argoses, so I had to."
How far apart are they?
Well, they've strategically placed them as far apart as they could possibly get them, so like across the town. But it was worth it because we wouldn't have been able to talk otherwise. So
Well, it's good. It's good to see. I'm gonna draw this to a close now because we've been chatting away for an hour or so. So before we go, ladies and gentlemen of the Bedtime Bloody Universe that are listening to this, thank you once again for tuning in and listening to me, and thank you for listening to Mike. But before I go, I want to. Sometimes I tell a bedtime story before I go, but I want to tell you about something that's going to happen in the future, and it's not the cocktail, which is going to be great. But I've been invited to go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the first time next week. Yeah, that's the story. Somebody's asked me to go. I've never been. I'm going to go. I'm going to give it a go. Not really a story, more of a statement of intent. But what do you think about that, Mike?
I think that you'll enjoy it. I tried it quite a while ago, and it felt like it had a huge amount of depth, huge amount of learning. Some of the guys that had been there, they were really tiny, small guys. Could
tie me up like a pretzel.
Really, honestly, they're so so effective. It's such an effective style, isn't it? But that's going to be great. Have you tried? You've done? Did you do judo in the past or something similar?
I did judo as well. Yeah, for a little bit.
That'll give you.
Got my first belt. Learned it. Don't need to learn anymore. Quit after that.
I think you'll be fine. You've built a lot of strength. You're doing your weightlifting. That's got to help, hasn't it? Help protect.
Yeah. But I'm a middle-aged man. Do you know what I mean? Some lad in his 20s, half my size, is going to fuck me up.
Yeah.
Because there's no striking in it, is there? It's all grabs and throws and locks and things.
They'll probably put you with the children's class, like the beginners.
They're like, can you work with this disabled child? And he'll still kick the shit out of me.
Well, you're going to be all sorts of pain, aren't you? Is it this?
First time I did the park run, I got beaten by an 80-year-old man with one lung.
Really? He beat you?
Yeah. He's like
beaten or bitten. You got beaten by him or bitten by him.
He beat me in the race. He didn't bite me. They were like,
got bitten by an 80-year-old man.
Watch out for old bitey John. He's only got one lung, but he can really fucking bite. I'll tell you something else as well. And I was at work the other day. I'm dragging on. I said I was going to end it, and I'm not. But I was at work the other day, and one of my colleagues, she came in and she went, "Giacomo, that's clothes for bigger men, isn't it?" And she looked right at me. The office was full, and she looked right at me and didn't say my name, but she just looked at me and she went, "Giacomo, clothes for big men." I'm like, I don't know why you're looking at me. Like, what the fuck?
That's
so rude. The girl next to me had said, I buy my clothes from Big and Tall. Because she's very slim, but she's very tall.
Yeah.
And she said Big and Tall. And I was like, well, what? I buy my clothes from fucking Fat and Stretchy, or whatever it is.
Did you have
She's like, no, Giacomo. Do you know how big Giacomo goes up to?
Really big. Extra.
6XL.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. When you open up Giacomo, it's like, shut up, you Giacomo wearing fuck, and have another piece of cake. Like, you fucking love cake, don't you?
We sat in your Giacomo t-shirt. Like at the time.
Yeah, I had a little Giacomo pin badge on my jacket lapel. And she just looked right at me, like eye contact. I'm like, look at you Giacomo wearing fat bastard. Like, do you want another piece of pie? Like, and when you look at the Giacomo website, on the Giacomo website, it's a big muscly guy. P.S. He isn't shopping at Giacomo. That guy.
No.
He's too busy seducing women. It's not that.
It's not wearing the Giacomo t-shirt part.
Indeed.
Except for he's been paid to do so. Like, that's different, isn't it? The model.
Well, listen. I am actually now going to draw this to a close. We're going to end it now. Mike, it's been lovely to see you. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a link to the Steam demo of Fallen City Brawl in the description of the podcast. So if anybody listening wants to do that, they can follow the link here or simply open up Steam, go to the store, and I take it if you type in Fallen City Brawl, it will just appear. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, and that's really appreciated. Thank you.
No worries, man. Got to plug your guests.
Well,
but otherwise, it's been lovely. It's lovely to see you, Mike. It's lovely for everybody that's been here again to have you here, and hopefully you'll have more adventures and nonsense when you tune in next time. But for now, I'm going to say good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to Bedtime Buddies, and in the words of some unknown hero, a year from now, you will wish you had started today. Please join us next time for more ludicrous nonsense and adventures of the serenely digressional kind. Intro music provided by Pixabay and Lo-Fi Retro Girl.